I thought I had everything figured out. My name is Sarah Chen, and at 30, 2 years old, I was living what everyone called the dream life. 5 years of marriage to Daniel, a beautiful suburban home, my career as a marketing manager thriving, and Daniel's position as a financial analyst at a prestigious firm. We were the couple everyone envied, but nobody knew my secret, not even Daniel. Coffee's ready. Daniel called from the kitchen that Tuesday morning, the same way he did every weekday. I watched him from the bedroom doorway, his dark hair still damp from the shower, his tie hanging loose around his neck. "You're amazing," I said, moving to help him with the tie, says the woman who actually remembers to pay our bills on time. He kissed my forehead. "What would I do without you?" The guilt twisted in my stomach like it did every morning. Probably starve. Definitely starve. He grabbed his briefcase. "Oh, Rebecca called yesterday. She wants to know if we're coming to her birthday thing next weekend." "Of course we are." "Good. She specifically asked if you'd be there. I think she's finally warming up to you." I doubted that, but I smiled anyway. "See you tonight." "Always." One more kiss, and he was gone. I waited until his car pulled away before opening my laptop. A familiar login screen for Western National Bank appeared. My fingers knew the password by heart. $87, 342. 16 stared back at me. It started innocently enough. My grandmother's inheritance, just $10 0 deposited into an account I'd opened right after our wedding. Just in case, I'd told myself, just for emergencies, but I kept adding to it, small amounts from each paycheck. Birthday money. The bonus I'd told Daniel was smaller than it actually was. 5 years of small deceptions that had grown into one massive lie. "It's not hurting anyone," I whispered to the empty house. "It's just security." Except Daniel believed in complete transparency. He'd told me on our honeymoon, sitting on a beach in Hawaii, that marriage meant sharing everything: finances, fears, dreams, failures. "No secrets," he'd said. "That's how we make this work forever." I'd agreed, and immediately broken that promise. My phone buzzed. "Monica, my coworker, lunch today. Need to vent about the Henderson account." "Sure, noon. Perfect." I closed the laptop and stared at my reflection in the darkened screen. Who was I? A good wife, a liar, both. That evening, Daniel came home with flowers and an energy I hadn't seen in months. "Sarah, I've been thinking about something all day." He set the flowers down and pulled me into the living room. "Can we talk after dinner? It's important." My heart stopped. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. Actually, everything might be really, really right. But as I set the table, watching him hum while he changed out of his work clothes, all I could think was, he knows. Somehow he's found out. Tonight is the night my secret destroys everything. I was wrong. But what Daniel wanted to discuss would make everything so much worse. "Sarah, we need to talk about our future," Daniel said as we sat down after dinner. His face was serious, and my hands went cold. This was it, he knew, but then he smiled, and I realized I had misread everything. "I've been thinking, maybe it's time we start trying for a baby." Relief and panic hit simultaneously. "A baby? I know we said we'd wait until we were more financially stable, but Sarah, we're 32. If we want kids, we should start now." He pulled out a notebook, and my stomach sank. "I've looked at our accounts. If we're careful, we can afford it, but it'll be tight." "How tight?" "We'd need to cut back. Maybe sell your car and share mine for a while. Put off the kitchen renovation. No vacations for a few years." He reached across the table for my hand. "But we could do it together." Every word felt like a knife. I sat there nodding, while knowing I had enough money hidden away to solve every problem he just listed. One confession, and all his worries would disappear, but I couldn't speak. The words stuck in my throat like cement. "What do you think?" he asked. "I think we should be careful, make sure we're really ready. We'll never be completely ready, but Sarah, I want this with you. I want to build a family." His phone rang. Rebecca's name flashed on the screen. Mind if I put her on speaker? Daniel asked. Sure. Rebecca's voice filled our dining room. Danny, I heard you might start trying for a baby. That's wonderful. News travels fast. Daniel laughed. Mom told me, listen, I'm excited for you both, but, she paused, being a mother is expensive. I hope you two have been saving properly. We're managing fine, I said, forcing cheerfulness into my voice. Of course, Sarah, I just remember you always talked about keeping your independence, financial independence, wasn't it? Daniel looked confused. What do you mean? Nothing. Just girl talk we had once. I'm sure you two are completely transparent with each other. That's what makes a strong marriage, right? No secrets, right? I whispered. After the call ended, Daniel hugged me from behind as I washed dishes. Don't worry about money. We'll make it work together. That's what marriage is, facing everything as a team. His words broke something inside me. I was not being a team player. I was being a liar, but even then, I couldn't confess. I love you, I said instead. I love you too, more than anything. That night, I lay awake while Daniel slept peacefully beside me. I stared at my phone, the banking app open. $87, $342.16. Enough for a baby, enough for the kitchen, enough for everything. Hidden, secret, poisonous. I told myself I'd confess tomorrow, next week, when the time was right, but time was running out faster than I knew. 3 months passed in comfortable lies. We'd started trying for a baby, and I'd convinced myself that maybe I didn't need to tell Daniel about the money. Maybe this secret could stay buried forever. Then Daniel collapsed at work. I got the call at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. Marcus, Daniel's colleague, was the one who called. Sarah, don't panic, but Daniel passed out during a meeting. We've called an ambulance, St. Mary's Hospital. The next hours blurred. Tests, doctors, waiting rooms that smelled like antiseptic and fear. Dr. Patterson sat us down with results that changed everything. Mr. Chen, you have a rare heart condition. It's genetic, progressive, and requires immediate treatment. The room spun. What's the treatment? Daniel asked, his voice steady despite the fear in his eyes. Surgery within the next 6 months. Without it, your life expectancy drops dramatically. With it, you can live a normal life. What's the cost, doctor? Patterson hesitated. With your insurance, you'll still be responsible for approximately $85,000. Almost exactly what I had hidden away. The universe had just delivered the cruelest irony imaginable. Daniel's face went pale. We don't have that kind of money. My mouth opened. This was it. This was the moment. I should tell him right now. But Dr. Patterson kept talking about payment plans, medical loans, options. And I sat there, frozen, saying nothing. That night, back home, Daniel broke down for the first time in our marriage. He sat at our kitchen table with his head in his hands. I'm going to die because we can't afford to keep me alive. Don't say that. I held him. We'll figure something out. How, Sarah, how? We have maybe $12,000 in savings. I ran the numbers. Even with a medical loan, we can't make this work. We'd lose the house, lose everything. I should have told him then. Every second of silence was another betrayal. We'll find a way, I whispered. Rebecca called that night. She'd heard about Daniel's diagnosis. If you two need money, I might be able to help. But Sarah, you'll need to be completely transparent about your finances. I'll need to see everything before I commit to anything. My blood turned to ice. After she hung up, Daniel looked at me with desperate hope. Maybe Rebecca could lend us some of what we need. Would you be comfortable sharing our financial details with her? Of course, I lied. I had dug myself into a hole I couldn't escape from. Rebecca wanted financial transparency. Daniel needed surgery, and I had the solution hidden in an account I'd lied about for years. 2 new people entered our nightmare during this time. Daniel's best friend Jake and Monica. Jake had known Daniel since college. He was straightforward, honest, and he'd never fully trusted me. Monica was my coworker and the only person who knew about my secret account. I'd mentioned it once during lunch, framing it as smart financial planning. You need to tell him, Monica said when I confessed the situation. We were in her car during lunch break and I was falling apart. Sarah, your husband is dying and you have the money to save him. I know. But if I tell him now, he'll hate me. He'll see every moment of our marriage as a lie. And if you don't tell him, if he dies or goes into massive debt when you could have prevented it, that's worse than any lie. She was right, but fear makes you do terrible things. That evening, Jake came over to discuss fundraising options with Daniel. We could set up a GoFundMe. Jake suggested. People do it all the time for medical expenses. Daniel shook his head. I can't ask strangers to pay for my life. What about selling the house? Downsize to an apartment? That would take months. I don't have months. I listened from the kitchen, feeling sicker with every word. Finally, Daniel called me over. Sarah, I need to ask you something, and I need complete honesty. My heart stopped. Is there any money anywhere that we haven't accounted for? Anything at all? Old savings accounts? Inheritance you forgot about? Anything? This was my moment, the perfect opening. No, I said nothing. The word came out before I could stop it. Another lie. I watched Daniel's face fall, watched hope die in his eyes. Jake looked at me oddly. Something in his expression told me he didn't quite believe me. Later, as Jake was leaving, he pulled me aside. Sarah, if there's something you're not telling him, now's the time. I've known Daniel for 15 years. If he finds out you lied to him while he was dying, it'll destroy him worse than the disease ever could. There's nothing to tell, I insisted. Jake studied my face. I hope you're telling truth. For both your sakes. As he walked away, I realized I'd just made an enemy of Daniel's closest friend. The next 2 weeks were hell. Daniel's condition was deteriorating faster than expected. Dr. Patterson moved up the surgery timeline. He now needed it within 8 weeks. Rebecca came through with an offer. She would lend us $30,000, but only after reviewing all our finances. I'll need bank statements from the last 5 years, Rebecca said when she came over. She sat at our kitchen table with a calculator and folders. Every account, every investment, everything. Daniel immediately started gathering documents. Sarah, can you print out your bank statements? I nodded and went to our home office. My hands shook as I logged into my computer. I printed statements from my regular account only. I buried the secret deeper, but I wasn't careful enough. Tyler, our neighbor and an accountant, stopped by to drop off tools he'd borrowed. He found me in the office, surrounded by financial documents, clearly stressed. Everything okay? Tyler asked from the doorway. I jumped. Fine. Just organizing things for Rebecca. Tyler's professional eye caught something on my computer screen before I could minimize it. I'd been looking at my secret account. Is that Western National Bank? He asked casually. My blood went cold. Just looking at investment options. Huh, that's funny. Western National doesn't do investment accounts. They're strictly savings and checking. Tyler's expression was neutral, but his eyes were sharp. But hey, none of my business. He left, but the damage was done. That night, Rebecca went through our finances with brutal efficiency. She calculated every dollar, questioned every expense, and finally agreed to lend us the $30,000. You're cutting it close, she said. You're basically broke. No safety net at all. I hope for Daniel's sake you've been completely honest with me. I have, Daniel assured her. He turned to me. We've shown her everything, right? Everything, I confirmed. Another lie. As Rebecca left, she hugged Daniel but barely acknowledged me. I don't think she likes me very much, I said after she'd gone. Daniel wrapped his arms around me. She's just protective. She knows we're telling her the truth. That's what matters. His trust felt like acid on my skin. Secrets never stay buried. It started with Tyler. A few days after seeing my computer screen, he mentioned to Daniel that he'd noticed I had an account at Western National Bank. He framed it innocently, just casual conversation. Daniel came inside confused. Do you have an account at Western National? My mind raced. Oh, that. It's an old account from before we got married. There's barely anything in it. I just never closed it. How much is in it? Maybe a few $100. I honestly don't remember. It's nothing. Daniel seemed satisfied, but I saw doubt creep into his eyes for the first time. Then Jake added fuel to the fire. He'd been helping Daniel research fundraising options when he casually mentioned that his wife had a secret savings account from before their marriage. It's her safety net. Jake explained. Some women do that. I don't blame them, honestly. Daniel went very still. Did Sarah ever mention anything like that to your wife? Not that I know of. Why? No reason, but there was a reason. I could see the wheels turning in Daniel's mind. Monica made things worse, though she was trying to help. She called me one evening, but I'd left my phone in the living room while I was showering. Daniel answered it. Hey, Sarah, I've been thinking about what you told me about that account. Monica started, then realized it wasn't me. Oh. Daniel, I thought this was Sarah's phone. What account? Daniel asked. Monica panicked. Nothing. Wrong conversation. Is Sarah there? She hung up quickly, but the damage was done. When I came out of the shower, Daniel was sitting on our bed, holding my phone. Monica called. She mentioned something about an account. She's talking about our joint account. I said quickly. We were discussing the medical expenses. She specifically said, that account you told me about. Like it was something separate, something secret. Daniel, you're reading too much into a confused phone call. Am I? His voice was sharper than I'd ever heard it. Tyler mentions a Western National account. Jake talks about wives keeping secret money. Monica references an account she wouldn't explain. Sarah, is there something you're not telling me? This was it, the moment where everything could either be saved or lost forever. I stood there in my bathrobe, dripping water onto our bedroom floor, facing my husband who was literally dying because we supposedly didn't have enough money, while I had exactly enough money hidden away to save him. No, I whispered, there's nothing. Daniel stared at me for a long moment. Something broke between us in that silence. I saw it happen, saw trust crack like glass. Okay, he finally said, if you say so, but he didn't believe me anymore. That night, we slept on opposite sides of the bed. Not touching. For the first time in 5 years of marriage, there was distance between us that wasn't physical, and I knew, with absolute certainty, that my lies were about to catch up with me. I woke up 3 days later to find Daniel gone. He'd left a note, went to handle some things, be back this afternoon. My phone rang. Rebecca, we need to talk. Come to my house. Alone. When I arrived, I found Daniel there with Rebecca, Jake, and Tyler. My stomach dropped. This was an intervention. Sit down, Sarah. Rebecca said. Her voice was ice. I sat. Daniel wouldn't. Look at me, Tyler spoke first. I want to be clear. I didn't want to get involved. But Daniel asked me directly, and I couldn't lie to him. He pulled out papers. I ran a professional financial background check. Daniel is my friend, and when he asked, I said yes. He slid the papers across the table to me. They showed every bank account in my name, including the Western National Savings account with $87,342. 16. The room spun. I couldn't breathe. $87,000. Rebecca said, her voice shaking with fury. You have $87,000 while my brother is dying because he can't afford surgery that costs $85,000. I looked at Daniel. His face was stone, but tears ran down his cheeks. How long? He asked quietly. Daniel, I can explain. How long? His voice cracked like thunder. I'd never heard him yell before. How long have you been lying to me? Since before we got married, I whispered. It started as just $10,000. I kept adding to it. I told myself it was just in case. Just for emergencies. I'm dying, and you call that not an emergency. Daniel stood up, pacing. I've been terrified, absolutely terrified, lying awake every night wondering how I'm going to pay for the surgery that will keep me alive. Wondering if I should just skip it and die so I don't leave you buried in debt. And you've had the money the entire time. I was scared to tell you, scared. Jake cut in. Sarah, this goes beyond fear. This is. I don't even have words. Rebecca was crying now too. I scraped together $30,000. I took out a loan against my house to help my brother survive, while you sat on almost $90,000 and said nothing. I was going to tell you. I pleaded. When? Daniel demanded. When were you going to tell me? After I died? After we lost everything? After Rebecca bankrupted herself helping me while you had a secret fortune hidden away? You don't understand. I needed security. I needed to know I'd be okay if something went wrong. Something did go wrong. Daniel was shouting again. I'm dying, Sarah. I'm dying, and you chose your security over my life. The room fell silent except for Daniel's heavy breathing. I want you out, he said finally. Pack your things. I want you out of my house tonight. Daniel, please, get out. He collapsed into a chair, sobbing. Rebecca rushed to him, and Jake moved to escort me to the door. You should leave, Jake said quietly. Now, I had destroyed everything. I moved into a hotel. That night, Monica was the only one who would speak to me. Everyone else, our friends, our families, even my coworkers, had heard what happened. Woman lets husband nearly die while hiding surgery. Money was the basic headline in everyone's mind. I tried calling Daniel 100 times. He never answered. Finally, on day 3, Rebecca picked up his phone. He doesn't want to talk to you. He's asked me to tell you that he's filing for divorce. His lawyer will contact you. Rebecca, please let me explain. Explain what? That you're a liar, that you're selfish, that you valued money over my brother's life. We all understand perfectly clearly. I'll give him the money. All of it for the surgery. Rebecca laughed bitterly. Oh, now you'll give it, now that you've been caught. How generous. Please, I love him. If you loved him, you would have told him the truth. Real love doesn't hide. Real love doesn't let someone suffer when you have the power to stop it. She paused. Daniel is getting his surgery next week. I called Western National Bank myself and confirmed you have the money. Daniel has authorized me to inform you that if you don't transfer the full amount to his medical fund by tomorrow, he'll not only divorce you, but sue you for emotional damages and fraud. Fraud. His lawyer says you might have committed financial fraud during marriage by hiding assets. You lied during legal financial disclosures to me when I was making my loan. You made Daniel make life decisions based on false information. That's fraud, Sarah. My whole world collapsed. I'll transfer the money today. Good. After the surgery, Daniel never wants to see you again. Sign the divorce papers when they arrive. Don't contest them. She hung up. I sat in that hotel room and transferred $87,342.16 to Daniel's medical fund. I watched my secret account. The account I'd protected for 5 years drained to zero. Then I was alone, truly alone. My phone buzzed. Monica, I can't be your friend anymore. What you did was unforgivable. Don't contact me again. Then my mother, your father and I are ashamed. Daniel's mother called us. We can't believe you would do this. One by one, my support system vanished. I'd made my choice. Now I was living with the consequences. Daniel's surgery was successful. I heard about it through Jessica, Tyler's wife, who took pity on me enough to send a brief text. Daniel's surgery went well. He'll make a full recovery. I wasn't allowed at the hospital. Rebecca had made sure of that. The divorce papers arrived 1 week after his surgery. They were brutal. Daniel wanted everything split. Immediately, no reconciliation period, no counseling. The marriage was over. I signed them without contest. What else could I do? Within 2 months, everything was finalized. Daniel kept House bought out my half using the money I'd given him for his surgery. The irony was crushing. My secret money had saved his life and ended our marriage simultaneously. I moved into a small apartment across town. My career suffered. Word had spread even to my workplace. I wasn't fired, but I was quietly moved to a less visible position. People whispered when I walked by. Jake saw me once at a coffee shop. He didn't acknowledge me, just turned and walked out when he noticed me in line. Tyler and Jessica moved away. Jessica told me before they left that they couldn't stand living next door to the house where all that pain happened. I destroyed more than my marriage. I damaged an entire community of relationships. Monica came by once to check on me. "I'm not here to make you feel better," she said at my door. "I'm here because I need to understand. Why? Why did you do it?" I'd asked myself the same question 1,000 times. I was afraid. I admitted. My parents divorced when I was young. My mother was left with nothing. She'd trusted my father completely, and he cleaned out their accounts and disappeared. She told me her whole life, never depend completely on anyone. Always have your own money. Always protect yourself. So you protected yourself right into losing everything. Monica said, "I know." I was so afraid of ending up like my mother that I became something worse. I became someone who values security over love. Over life. Monica stood to leave. Daniel's dating someone new. Rebecca introduced them. "I thought you should know." The words hit like a physical blow. 2 months. He'd moved on in 2 months. She knows everything. Everything. He's apparently become obsessed with honesty, complete transparency. It's like he's building the exact opposite of what you two had. After Monica left, I realized I'd become a cautionary tale. 6 months after the divorce, I saw Daniel for the first time since that confrontation at Rebecca's house. It was at our mutual friend Emily's wedding. Miley had tried to stay neutral, but had clearly sided with Daniel by making him a groomsman, while I was just an invited guest. He looked healthy, happy. The surgery had been a complete success. He'd gained back the weight he'd lost. His color was good. He was laughing with Jake and others, and holding hands with her. The new girlfriend, a nurse, someone who literally dedicated her life to caring for others. The opposite of me. I wanted to leave immediately, but Emily had specifically asked me to stay. "You both need to learn to exist in the same spaces," she'd said. During the reception, I found myself alone at my table. Most people were dancing or mingling. I was nursing my 3rd glass of wine when Daniel appeared. "Sarah." My heart stopped. "Daniel, can we talk outside?" I followed him to the venue's garden. We stood under decorative lights, and for a moment, neither of us spoke. "You look well." I finally said, "I am well." The surgery was successful. Full recovery. He paused. "Thank you for the money." "I never said that. You don't have to thank me. It should have been offered freely, not taken by force. No. It shouldn't have existed as a secret in the first place." His voice wasn't angry anymore, just tired. "Do you understand what you did to me, Sarah? I destroyed your trust. I lied to you for 5 years. I almost let you die because I was a coward. It's more than that." Daniel looked at me, and I saw something in his eyes I'd never seen before. Complete indifference, not hate, just nothing. "You made me question my entire reality. Every conversation we'd had about our future, about having kids, about building a life together. All of it was based on a lie. You watched me stress about money, watched me consider not having children because we couldn't afford them, watched me nearly give up on surgery because I thought it would bankrupt us. And every single moment, you knew the truth and said nothing. I know, and I've paid for it. I've lost everything. Have you?" Daniel's question was sharp. "You lost a marriage, you lost friends, you lost respect, but Sarah, I almost lost my life." "Those aren't equivalent." He was right, they weren't. "Why did you want to talk to me?" I asked. "Because I need you to understand something. I've moved on completely. I'm happy now, genuinely happy, in a way I never was with you. And I didn't even realize it until now. Catherine and I have something real, something honest, and partly, I'm grateful to you for that. grateful. You taught me what I actually need in a relationship. Not perfection, not someone who never makes mistakes, but honesty, transparency, someone who trusts me enough to be vulnerable, even when it's scary. He stepped back. I hope you find that too someday. I hope you learn that real security doesn't come from hidden money. It comes from being with someone you trust completely. He started to walk away, then turned back. Oh, and Sarah. Rebecca wanted me to tell you she's paid off her loan. The money from selling my half of our house covered it. So there's no debt between any of us anymore. We're all free. He left me standing in that garden, under those romantic lights, completely alone. I'd protected myself right into isolation. I'd been so afraid of losing everything that I'd guaranteed it would happen. The worst part, Daniel was right. He hadn't just moved on. He'd upgraded, and I was left with nothing but the truth I'd learned too late. Trust can't be bought back. Love can't be reclaimed, and some choices can never be undone. I walked back to my car, leaving the wedding early, leaving behind the life I could have had. My secret had cost me everything, and the price was one I'd be paying for the rest of my life. The end.